Yeah, so my name is Milla Törmälä and I'm an entrepreneur and an owner and a CEO of a tool rental company, Vatupassi, and we're located in 5 cities and our main office is here in Joensuu. And for the next 45 minutes, you're gonna hear some storytelling about my life and about my career. So let's start. So this is basically our company and our crew, or little part of our group, and this is how I usually start my presentations because people want to hear the story of Vatupassi. But today you wanted to hear my story, so we're gonna forget this. Vatupassi is an awesome company and also like a big part of my life, but who I am is a little bit different. And I've been thinking about a lot, like how to identify myself, or if people ask who you are, should I say I'm a mom, or should I say I'm an entrepreneur, or should I say I'm CEO, which, by the way, I think is a little bit embarrassing to say that you're a CEO because it gives like a wrong impression who I am. But yeah, we have been rewarded to be the best rental company in Europe. But still, that's something that I don't know why. Like, I'm proud of it, but I think it's kind of funny. It doesn't like really tell like my story. It's something that came along, but it's not something that we were aiming all the way. And that's my dad and me, and that's last summer. Vatupassi turned 30 years old, and we had a party, and it's a family-owned company. And I'm actually a 4th generation female entrepreneur from our family, and from my dad's side, I'm a 3rd generation entrepreneur. So the entrepreneurship comes really strongly in my family. But instead of asking who I am, I like to ask what I bring to the table or what I bring to the room when I enter. And I think that's more valid question and more like the thing that you should think about. I recently went back to school, and we have been talking there a lot about what's the purpose of life and what's our purpose and what we want to do. And is there like a bigger picture, like something great that you want to do? But I actually think that like if you're able to bring a good mood and a good vibe and make people smile when you enter the room, that's pretty good purpose for the life. So this is me. Moi kaikille! Yeah, so I think that laughter is the most important thing. And I get easily excited, and the way for me to get my game back. And like yesterday, I drove back from Jyväskylä, and we have been having this cool tour, driving around all our 5 locations past 2 weeks, and I was exhausted. I was so tired when I came home. And because I'm the way I am, I remembered that I haven't really done this presentation early enough. Like I had been planning and I have been thinking about it. I've been doing some drawings, but like I really knew that I'm exhausted and I have to like sit in front of the computer at the night. But the way to get excited and inspired is to like find something that gets you in a good mood. And for me, it's usually doing something silly and making jokes about myself or like kind of like laughing it out. Like, how did I end up in this situation again where I'm exhausted and like I'm doing the things that I love, but like sometimes there are too much things. And as you could see, there was a picture of me and my kids playing on a couch that I was like, that's also a part of the life that like sometimes it's a lot. But I also like, if you're defining the moments that are you succeeding or are you successful, then I would also think that are you doing the things that you love and are you doing the things that matter to you? And I would actually think that I am successful, and I think that at the moment, like the things that have brought me here and into this moment of life are the things that I'm doing, like really listening to myself, and then you end up in the right places. So that's me. I was born in 82 in Joensuu. And then, as you can see, I don't feel there was like so remarkable things happening before 2001. Of course there are, but I don't know, like my family, that they're entrepreneurs and they're into business. So that's of course like a big part of me and big part of my identity and where I am today and speaking to you guys. But I think one of the turning points in my life was 2001 when I was actually graduating from high school. And then at that time I was working at McDonald's. I was determined that I want to study economics at the university. But then for some odd reason, I asked my dad that can I come to work to the tool rental. And he said that you can if you get the driving license to drive trucks. And I was like, yeah, I can do that. And actually, our guys at that time, I have heard that they were making bets when I'm going to quit and said that this is enough. But that point never came. So I started my studies, but I don't really think that studying time, like, it was part of me. And I wanted to get my master's degree and like that was enough for me. But like, I knew that I want to be an entrepreneur. And I remember that I had this conversation with one of, like it was a class, I think it was like the basics to the entrepreneurship or something. And there was this guy I didn't know, he was sitting right next to me and he says like, who's so crazy that wants to be an entrepreneur? That's like, nobody wants to do that. And especially if you're studying at the university. And I said like, I think I'm going to do that. And we didn't talk after that. But yeah, it was clear to me that that's something that I wanted to do, but I didn't think that like tool rental or I can't say that like the machines or the lifts or like the holdings are the things that get me excited, but working with people and developing the business is something that I'm really excited about. So then fast forward and it's 2009 and we actually made a decision that we're going to do the general change and I'm going to be the main shareholder after that. And it actually happened like the decision was made 2009, because before that also my uncle with his family was owning the business, and then they said that they only want to sell their shares, and then we want to buy them, and then actually 2011 I became the owner. And since that, like a lot has happened. And I think like when I mark those things, like those years, those are the moments that I can really recall that they were like the moments where I actually paused and listened, like, is this something that I want to do? So the 2016, my first daughter was born, and of course, like when you become a mom, it changes your life. But I think for me, the most important thing about that was like the little baby was growing, and I could see that like time goes so fast. Like you don't want to waste your time with people you don't want to be around, or you don't want to waste your time with people who actually like take your energy but don't give you any energy. So at that point, I decided that I'm going to organize my time better, and I'm going to do some KonMari and only save the people who bring me good energy. Of course, I didn't say to anybody that like, I'm not going to talk to you because you don't give me good energy, but like, you can make those decisions. Like, you don't have to waste your time to be around the people that don't really inspire you. And then also, that point of my life was the first time that I actually paused, because of course I was like on the maternity leave and away from the work for a longer time. So it really made me think that is this really something that I want to be doing for the rest of my life, or for even after 5 years or 10 years? And I really found out that I enjoy my work and I miss my work, and I really love to be at home with the baby, but I really also like, it was like a good feeling when I got back to the office and went back to the work. Then 2018 actually is when, it was like end of the 17 when I went back to work, and at that time the tool rental market was changing and we got a new competitor. And they had like the capital investors behind them, and they were like coming on really aggressive to the market. And we had a moment thinking that, like, what is it that we want to do? Like, do we want to follow the big competitors? Because our number one competitors are like the Ramirent is part of Loxam Group, which is the number one in Europe, like the biggest rental company in Europe. Ramo is, I think at the moment there are 8 in Europe. And then there was this new competitor coming with a lot of money to the business. And at that point, it was the first time that we actually said that now we need to sit down and write a strategy. And before that, it kind of like sounds funny to me that that was the first time that we actually sit down and wrote a strategy. Like, 2018, like how is it even possible? But yeah, like I think that's pretty actually normal for the smaller business, that you like you kind of know what you're doing, and it's like in your like gut feeling, like what do you want to do next, but like you don't have the time and the luxury to sit down and writing papers and plans and visions and all that. So then we decided that we want to have some help and someone to help us to do it like the best way we can. And I was asking around, and I gotta say that I usually like set my goals pretty high. So in even that moment, I was like, I don't want to like use anyone who's just like doing some consulting and come tell us like what's the good strategy. So I want to have the best one. So I asked around, and I heard that there's this guy called Päivä, who's actually at the moment located in France, but he's a Finnish guy, but has been doing like a big strategies for the big companies and for the like a universal companies like and multinational companies. So I hunt down his email and wrote him an email, like really honest one. I said, like, this is the situation. We got a new competitor. We're kind of lost, like, what we should do. And this is where we are at the moment. But there's like a risk that, like, after 5 years, there won't be Vatupassi because there are so many big players in the market. And we haven't wrote down any strategies. And I was expecting, like, he would never reply to me. He was like, why would he? And it was Friday afternoon that I wrote the email. And on Saturday morning, he called me and said, like, this is Toivo Äijä. I read your email. And I'm in this situation that I don't really have to work anymore unless I really want to. Like, I'm lucky in that way that I've made my money and I don't really need to do anything anymore. I was like, okay, nice that you call me and tell me this. But he said that, like, something got my attention, and like, you were so honest that I want, like, I'm willing to come to Joensuu and help you. So he came, and he really challenged us and thinking us, like, what's the main thing that we can be different from our big competitors, because honestly, everybody has the same machines, and, like, there's not really, like, a product line or something that where you can be different from the other players. And but we said that, like, the whole Vatupassi history, and also, like, from the history that my grandpa started to do his own business, like, the one main figure that we had, like, it has been something that we're really proud of, and we want to remain the thing, is that we take good care of our employees. And we want to offer good service for the customers, but, like, the main focus is always on our staff, our crew, and on their well-being. And he said to me that, like, it sounds good that you're going to, like, offer, like, really quality service and you're going to take care of your employees, but, like, let's be honest, it's going to be like a bumpy ride. Like, it's going to be a hard work and it will be never done. And he was right. I think it's really rewarding that I see that the people who are working for us, that they enjoy coming to work and they have a good time and they laugh and they're relaxed and they enjoy it. But at the moment we have 70 workers, and it's not really that, like, there's a day that everybody are pleased and everything's good. Like, there's always something to do. And then at that time we also decided to do a brand workshop. And the Fabrik, the Joensuu advertising company, was helping us, and it went really well. And we liked the work that they did, and we liked the strategy, and everything was really good. And then, like, I think that's the turning point where we started to coming to this day. Then 2018, my second daughter was born, and I think, like being mother to two daughters who are, like, 2 years apart, you kind of, like, expect that they're going to be a lot like, or they actually, like, look alike, but they're so different. Like, they're like night and day. And I think that's the one thing that really hit me in that moment, that like, the kids are so honest. They're always themselves. Like, that's something that we're born with, that we are who we are. But then when you turn 40, as I am, you're super lost. Like, who am I? Like, all of a sudden, like, where does it disappear? Like, where does it come from? Like, when do you start pleasing people and doing those things that you lost your own voice and you don't really know, like, what's going on? So I think that was the gift that my youngest daughter gave me, to think about that, like, be true to yourself. So then 2019, I'm coming back to work, and it was like, actually the summer, and our current marketing manager, was working for the Ilosarroki, and she called me and said, like, we have this great idea that we should do this like a lift. I can actually show you. I think there's the lift. That we could have this lift at Ilosarroki, and you could invite the customers there, and we could actually like people could win the tickets there and have like champagne and burgers and what's the main show there. And I was like, that's amazing idea. And then she said the price to me. I was like, that's never going to happen with our board. Like they're never going to get along with like my idea, even though I feel like it's the best idea ever and people will talk about it forever. So we went to our board meeting with her, and honestly, our board members at that time, they said like afterwards, like they had decided like this is never going to happen. But like I was so into the idea and I didn't give up, and I said like this is really like something we should do. And yeah, we did it, and it was great. And I think it was like the best, really brave move on that side for me as an entrepreneur. Like really trust that voice. Like if something feels right, then do it. Like the people will see it. It's a great idea. Then we go a little bit back. So at that time also we were working with the advertising company Fabrik, and then Pia was working for the Ilosarroki, but I really like felt this connection with her, and I was like, can you do our marketing? Like you really get my ideas, like you really get like where I'm coming from, and like I'm not disrespecting Fabrik at all. Like they were doing like great work with the brand and all that, but like from that moment I kind of like, if I know that I have this connection with someone in the marketing, like I can't go back with them. So that was another bold move that I made when I came back, and I changed the advertising company. Or actually, it was like she's only like working by herself, so it wasn't even like a company. She's like a singular entrepreneur, so it was a bold move. But also, like, we really have the connection with her, and yesterday we were walking to the tour site, and I said to her, like, do you ever like stop and think like we have done like pretty amazing things? And I started crying, of course, because like I'm so sentimental that but I think also that like I'm actually so happy and excited about my work. So when I'm going there, I can cry for like happy tears, and I'm so happy. So that's a feeling that I think everybody should aim. Then 2020, well, everybody knows that then happened COVID. We were opening a brand new shop in Oulu. We had already recruited people. We were like moving forward pretty fast. We had new workers all like every side, and then happens COVID, and we're like, we're screwed. But actually, it was like I think also that moment, like it's kind of the same thing as when we got the new competitor. Then when something bad and unexpected happens, you like really need to think about again, like where you are, who you are, what's going on, and what do you want to do. So actually, that's also the time when we started doing coaching. And I think that's one of the best decisions that we did, because it has really got me into this path to learning who I am and what I want to do. And I think that's something that everybody should do. And you don't have to take coaching lessons or go to a therapy or something, but pause and think, is this like really something that I want to do? Because I think that we all know like what we want to do if we just listen to ourselves. Then also 2020, we were rewarded to be the best European rental company, which was great. And I think actually that also proved the fact that we didn't really think that we're that good. Like we thought that we're doing a good job, but like then like in your everyday life, you don't really like stop and think like, oh, we have like minutes to do this, or we have grown so much, or like what are the things that we have been doing. So that was another thing at 2020. And then actually 21, I think it's more personal thing, but it's also the most, like, I would say probably the most important thing, because I knew like it had been going on for quite a long, like I felt that every time somebody was asking me like, how are you doing? I started like telling them things like, oh, Vatupassi is doing great and business is going great and kids are growing, and I had the horse at that time. I was telling like the horse is doing good and my parents are doing good and blah, blah, blah. But I didn't really tell how I am doing. And I think that's something that we all do quite a lot. It's so much easier. And also like people don't expect you to say like, well, actually like this morning I was super tired. And then it's kind of like they don't want to hear if you're doing bad, because that's uncomfortable. But also if you're doing like too good, that's also annoying. But I got this feeling that I'm always kind of like lying. Like it felt that when I'm telling like how I'm doing, I'm not really telling how I'm doing. And I actually knew the reason for quite some time, but that's what people do, that like they want to pretend everything's good and it's like keep going and ignore the inner voice. But yeah, that process ended up to that point that I got divorced. And I think that's one thing that it's a major decision. Like nobody makes that decision lightly. And I think sometimes it's a good, like I'm not recommending to get a divorce, but I think it's a good thing that you're able to make a hard decision and trust yourself even those moments. And also like after that, it has proven to me that like, oh, there's so many things in life that like, what do you want to do? And actually, I think one of the best decisions that happened after that was this spring. We were having a meeting at work, and then we started talking, that's just like chatting, like we have done all the work, and we're chatting like, oh, I think I want to go back to school. And it was 12 o'clock, like before the lunch, and I was like, yeah, I'm thinking about going to like maybe starting the executive MBA studies. And I was like, well, I don't really have the time for that, but like it's something that really resonates with me. And because I am the way I am, so at that evening, 5 o'clock, I had managed to get myself into the school. So I think the best decisions are made in 5 seconds before anybody comes and tells you like it's a bad thing to do. Like you don't want to do that, or like it doesn't make any sense. Because if it makes sense to you, it doesn't have to make sense to anybody else. Of course, like there are some points when you kind of like get lost with the speed and make maybe like a bad decisions, but then you just need to make some corrections and make new decisions. Yes. But yeah, I think the best decisions are when you really trust yourself. Like you know what you do, what do you want to do, and trust that voice. So this was another moment. It was actually after the COVID. It's kind of the same thing as the Ilosaari Rokki that it was a crazy idea. Like we had been planning after the Ilosaari Rokki that this is something that we're gonna do again, and we're gonna do like this like event in an event, like small things, and get like people to know Vatupassi. But then all the events were cancelled. So there's nothing you can do or where to go. But actually like the construction business at the COVID period was doing good. So we started thinking that we want to do like something fun. We want to do something that will bring joy to the people, and we want to give back. Like we're doing good and our business is going strong. And we want to do something good and something safe that people actually can enjoy, even though we couldn't arrange an event. So our marketing manager came up with this idea that she saw these little live music concerts in Helsinki that they were arranging like at the yards and like between the houses, and then we're like, there are not really like such locations in Joensuu like where you could like entertain so many people, like they could stay in their own apartments or balconies and listen to the music. And then we thought that like maybe we can do it in a moving car. And then actually Steve told me after that like when he heard the idea, he said like, no way, that's like the most stupid and dangerous thing he has ever heard. Like he's not going to do it. But his manager was really believing in this idea, and I think it was like one of the most fun and exciting moments in the Vatupassi history. But also like this, it's like really tied to the moment and also like the COVID time that I remember that there's one of our sales guys started working us for, it was like January 2020. So when the COVID had started and it was March 2020, and nobody knew like what was going on, and everybody was scared. So I decided that I'm going to call each one of our employees and talk to them. Just ask like, how are you doing? Are you scared? How are you feeling? How's your spouse doing? Do they have work? And like tell like what's going on. So I called this guy and he's really nervous because of course he thinks like he's the last one who came in. So he's expecting me to say to him like, I'm pretty sure you can understand the situation that we have to let you go. And then he was like, just waiting for me to say the words, and then I'm actually just asking like how he's doing. And that's something that he has been telling all the time, like over and over again, that like that's something that he thinks that it's like the spirit of Vatupassi or spirit of the Törmälä family, that like we want, like really want to care and do the right things, not because it's right thing to do in other people's eyes, but like something that you really believe in doing. So if you're going to remember something from this speech, I hope this is something that you take away with you. That trust yourself and just do it. And don't think too hard or too long. Like there's never a right time to do the right thing, or there's always going to be someone who says like that's the worst idea you can do. And even like my brother is like, he's our CFO, and he's really positive guy, and he like loves everybody, and he's really empathetic. And when I told him that I'm going to go back to school, and he's like it's like the Henley Business School is like with the work, like it's 2 days a month or something. But when I told Anssi this idea, he's like, what do you mean? Like, why are you going back to school? I was like, it's a great idea. Like half the days are in Helsinki and half the days in London and Copenhagen. I get to go to South Africa and Miami. Like, who wouldn't want to study there? And he's like, but you don't remember that you're actually like one of the worst studiers like there can be. I was like, what do you mean? But like, I have to admit that he had some points right, because like I'm the person who delivers at the last minute. So it's an extra stress for me, but it's also like one thing that I really like the feeling when you can prove that I can do it. Like if it feels right for you, you can do it. And then also, you are allowed to change your mind. If you made a decision that turns out to be a wrong decision, then just get your hand up and say that I made a mistake. Or maybe it wasn't a mistake, but maybe the situation has changed it. And change your mind. If it doesn't feel right to you anymore, then change your mind. It's not like a death sentence when you make a decision. And then own it. If you're doing a good work or good job, I don't understand why you shouldn't say that I'm actually pretty good in this. Like, I'm the boss lady who rocks this situation. Like, I think I'm allowed to say that. Or if the guys at our work, if they're doing a good work, like then say like, these are our guys. Like, we're so proud of them. Like, own the situation. But also it comes with the responsibility that like, if you made a bad call or if you made a mistake or if you did something that was reckless or something, then also own that situation and say that I was wrong and take the responsibility, because you never learn if you don't self-reflect, or you never learn if you're not able to fail. And there's no such thing as a perfect world or perfect way to do things. There are different ways to do things. So what happens next? This is the question that everybody always asks for me, that like, what's going on with Vatupassi? Are you going to get like open a new store, or where are you going to go first, next, and what are the plans? Honestly, at the moment, we don't have like a location that's where we're going. But we do have a plan that we want to grow. But we don't want to grow just to grow. We want to be better every day. We want to develop our business, and that's the thing. And we want to remain the good things that we have. When the business is growing, it's not so easy to be the flexible family company. It gets harder, but then you have to like figure out the ways how to do it and keep the most important things in your mind. And this is also from the Henley Business School. I learned that this is really relevant questions. Like, they say that the two most important questions to ask yourself is, who am I and what's going on? But I would say it's what I bring to the table or what I bring to the room and what's going on. Like, really think about like, is this something that I want to do? And is this where I want to go? And then make the decisions, because nobody else is going to say you're worth it, or you should aim higher, or do the work for you. It's on you. And then this is from the Keikkarekka tour, and I actually I love this picture, because this is the way I feel when I go to work. Like, not every day. That would be lying if I would say like every morning I feel like this, but like I would say 90% of the days I feel like this. And I think that's something that is success, a successful life. If you're able to do that, that you actually, like, really, like, I was crying yesterday because I was so happy to do the work that I do. And I cry a lot, so it's not really like an exception, but yeah, I think this is the feeling and the moment to capture and aim for that. And also, I think that we should all remember that it's going to be all good. Just enjoy the ride. Like, whatever comes, just like, don't take it like too deeply, and like maybe for a moment pause and think like what got you there and what happened. But really, like, embrace the moment, and also like be happy about the good things. That's something that we Finns are really bad at. I think that like when we're like succeeding or doing something good, then we like the next thing that we think is like, well, next something bad is going to happen. And we're not allowed to enjoy the moment. So yeah. So when it's even like when it's busy and when it's exhausting and when it's tiring, even then, like I feel that I'm lucky that I have all these amazing things that I want to do. And also, like, if my schedule sucks, it's like on me. I need to own that. It's my calendar. It's not no one else's fault. Yeah, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed.
Thank you, Milla, for your presentation. It was really nice to get like a very like personal vibe. So we got to really like understand, like we all probably would have thought like, wow, you're such a like super strict business woman probably, and like how would you make such a successful business? Like you cannot be like yourself, definitely, but you totally like brought like the honest like way, and I really appreciate that, and I wish that more of that would be shown like publicly. So it's amazing that here in Joensuu we have businesses like these that have very healthy and positive culture.
Thank you.
So thank you. We, dear audience, have here a box mic. So now if you have any questions to Milla, we would be happy. So you can throw the box mic and ask your questions. But before I give that opportunity, I would like to ask, like, you said that in school you weren't like the best student probably or so, but you probably enjoyed studying still. But what were your most favorite subjects in school and why?
Well, at the university, I really enjoyed the leadership and marketing. And also, like, I always have, like, I like the languages and I like to speak and be communicating. But actually, I like the thing that I'm not good at is something if I have to learn something by heart. But I think I'm good at like looking at the big picture and like putting information together.
And how about, you mentioned that, did you mention, so we were thinking about, this is an entrepreneur event. So what kind of encouraged you to start your own entrepreneur career?
Well, I think the biggest reason obviously was like in our family, because I was raised in that culture. But also, like, I think the thing for me about entrepreneur, which I really enjoy, is the freedom. And the thing that, like, even when your schedule is busy and like you're tired, it's the freedom. Like, you know that it's your schedule and you made it. And like, I think it would feel harder if somebody else made your schedule. And that's the thing that I really enjoy. But also, I think it gives you like a different opportunities to do things and listen to your heart.
Thank you. So, does audience, so now, do you have any questions? Yes.
Yes, thank you for your presentation. So running a company is probably really challenging. And I've heard that one of the biggest challenges of running a company, especially when it gets bigger, is communication. Especially in your case, if it's a family business, like communications, probably, I assume that's can be a challenge. But my question is, like, what are the 3 things you've learned about people during the course of your career? What are the insights that you got about people, like how to lead them, how to communicate with them, maybe?
Well, I think like the most important thing is to be yourself and be honest. And I think like I really like I said at the beginning, I think it's kind of like embarrassing to call yourself as a CEO because I don't think that tells anything about me. But actually, Johannes there has been working for us for summers, and I think he can agree that I usually like to come to the coffee and just like joke around and like hear what's going on and like get the vibe. And I think to be able to do that, you have to have time. If you're like putting out the fires and like running around all the time, like you don't really know your people. So like when you have the time to sit down and just like, that's the one thing that I'm always questioned about. Like even now, like we had this school tour, they were asking like, is it really like the CEO's job to go there? Is it like worth of your time to go there? Or is it worth of your time to like drive around your locations and go there and have coffee or go for lunch or have a dinner with your guys? And I was like, I think it is. Like if I don't have time for that, then who does?
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your presentation. It was great. One question that came into my mind was, if you weren't an entrepreneur in Vatupassi, what would you do? Do you have some, or did you have some like dream of your own company or?
Well, I was really into the horses, and I'm actually like a certified coach for riding. But I always thought like I want to keep that as my hobby so I can enjoy it. And then I was really thinking that really hard. Like at the time when I started working at the Vatupassi, we also had a gas station, which my mom was leading. And there was my mom, my grandmother, my brother, my uncle, and my cousin was working there. So the kind of like the main reason why I came to Vatupassi was only because there was only my dad. But of course, that's not the reason why I stayed there. I think I stayed because like I really saw like I like to get new things done and develop things, and that's something that I want to do. But like that's actually a question, like it's a good question, because I've been thinking myself that like if I didn't have my own company, I don't even know if I wanted to be a CEO in a, let's say like in a big huge company. Like I don't know if that's something that I would want to do, because I don't know if it's something where I could like really do the things that I love or like I say, like if somebody would come and tell me like that's not worth of your time, like you should be looking at the Excel spreadsheets from your computer. And I don't know if that's the thing that I would want to do. I don't know.
Yeah, and if I can continue, if you could now decide whether you would build a business with your family or with complete strangers, which would you decide?
Well, with the family, the easy thing is that no matter if you fight, they'll always be there. And actually, I don't think that I would put up a company with a friend of mine, because I think that's like a really good opportunity to ruin your friendship. And I think like the clear boundaries is also like a key factor. If it's like 50-50, I think it's really risky. Because like there are situations, but I do think that I don't think that I would want to be like I feel that I'm blessed and I'm lucky that I have like the background and I have always like some people to talk to, and I don't feel I'm by myself or lonely in this work. And like it's, even though like it is kind of like a lonely position to be in, because like I have to be there for everybody, but there's like, I don't know who's going to be there for me. But like I have the team, and I think that's the thing, that you need to find the people that you really enjoy being around and working with, and who you can trust and are there. Like you need to have your team. I don't know if it answered your question or not.
Yeah, and I would like to mention, so if you want, you can also ask questions in Finnish and we can translate it. And I think Milla understands Finnish, so no worries, you can ask questions in Finnish as well. But I was thinking, you mentioned that in order to kind of to be, positive, you need to have time for it. How about like when you're working, how can you be a good, positive, supported leader? Like how do you make time there for yourself?
Well, that's also like a one thing. Like I'm not really proud. Like I hate myself when I have like when my schedule is like this tight, or like when I don't have the time to rest or like take my own time. But I think I actually did like do you know what's first beat? But it's like these measurement things that you put like these little, like it collects like a statistics, and then you're supposed to keep like a diary for 3 days, and it tells like your heart rate and when you slept and when you relaxed and your stress levels. And from there, like it actually like I didn't know this, but like actually like driving a car, which is usually like, as you could see, I most of the time sing and like or listen to a good podcast or something. Like it's a time for me to relax. So you're like not only that you will have like a weekend off, but it's really important to have like those little pauses during your day, like even like for 5 minutes when you can kind of like let it all go. And now I know, like driving a car is those moments for me when my stress levels go down.
How about like you always probably bring to the workplace, and now here too, you bring this positive vibe, and which I'm really grateful, and audience as well. How about like, do you have anybody who you kind of, how do I say, like look up to? Like, do you have some kind of iconic person who also kind of has like a very positive outlook on life?
Like from my
like do you have like your own idol or?
Oh,
yeah.
Well, yeah, a lot of them. And I'm like I said, I'm like, I can easily, like, I'm so enthusiastic that like when I read a book, like I was like, actually, I read Alicia Keys's book, which I really recommend. And she's someone that I really look up to. And I really like the fact that like she's doing her own thing and like changing the things and like doing these new things. But then also like from the leadership point of view, I really like Brené Brown. And she's someone that I really enjoy. Also, the writer Glennon Doyle. I don't know if you know her. And then what's the name? There's this at Spotify. There's this CEO's Diary podcast. I really like that guy. Like he has like good conversations. But like, yeah, a lot of people. I really like. I like to think like outside the box. Like it doesn't really like matter to me. Like who is it? Oh, Viola Davis is one of like also like I don't care if it's an actor, if it's a leader or a businessman or a businesswoman or a kid. I actually like I have to say that I really look up to my kids because like they are like true to themselves and they really make me laugh.
Thank you. So we still have some time for last questions.
Hello, thank you for the presentation. I would like to continue on what you said earlier about, well, it's a family company, and you said that, well, the family is always there. So how do you separate like your free time, your personal time from your work time? Is it the little moments during the day, what you said, or what is it?
Well, it is the little moments, but also like honestly, that is the hard part of it. Like I'm used to it, I'm grown up to it, but sometimes this is a good example. Like last spring, I decided that I'm going to get an e-car, and my dad is like really a car person, and he has been driving rally, and he thinks it's the worst idea to get an e-car. So we ended up having like 3 months argument about Tesla. I won. I have an e-car, but still it's like a topic that we don't go back to. But yeah, it's challenging. It is challenging. But then I think my parents had this thing that like when we went back home, like they didn't bring the business to the dinner table or back home. And I think that's something I actually like, I noticed that I get a little bit annoyed that like I love my job, but I also like I want to respect my free time, and I like especially like when the kids are home, then like I want to be there for them. I don't want to be like renting tools when I'm home.